Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So good morning. Welcome to another Market Open stream. Today, the market looks iffy once again. Let's talk about what's causing the iffiness. And let's talk about the U.S. government selling Bitcoin. Why are they selling Bitcoin? How did they get it in the first place? And why are they doing it now? So let's talk about these things and more. And there we go. There's the market bell. So welcome, guys. Hopefully you guys are doing good this morning. As you can see, the market, the U.S. market is barely in the green. Barely in the green. Obviously, last night or yesterday, all of yesterday, we were rocked by Jerome Powell. I have a little bit more to share about that. But there's going to be more of that today because Powell is set to speak in front of the House today. Yesterday, he was speaking in front of the Senate. So we got more Powell. So we could have more volatility. But we did receive a key piece of economic data. And this was a key point yesterday when he was being asked by the senators and probably by the House today. And I want to show you that key clip. But this key economic data is payroll. So ADP, they have their own payroll like reporting. And then, so we have this, and then we also have one from the government. So I don't know why there's two payroll kind of reports, but we received the ADP one today, and next week we'll receive the official one from the U.S. government. And according to the ADP payroll report, payroll for February last month went up more than expected. It was supposed to be about 205,000 Americans finding jobs, but instead we had 242,000 Americans finding jobs. Okay, that is great. That is great. But here's the controversy. Last month, when ADP reported, they reported that payrolls was coming in below expectation. I remember. I think they reported that the jobs was around like 105, 110, something like that. They reported it was really low. But then we got the official one from the U.S. government, and that came in extremely high. Take a look at this. Look at what was reported. The blue was what was reported by ADP, and the dark gray was reported by the U.S. government. Look at in January how off it is. So I don't know what happened there. ADP really screwed up for January. So let's hope they didn't really screw up for February, because if you're looking at February, you can see it's coming in line with like December, right? So if they're really, really off, and then next week we get a payroll report from the government, and again we've added like another 500,000 jobs or like 600,000 jobs, and it's really off, well, that's going to be pretty bad for markets for sure. So I don't know what's going on with what ADP is reporting and how that's different, but they need to get their act together for sure. But anyways, this is one of the key things that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I've said this because when you have good payroll numbers, which means you have more Americans finding jobs and working, this is considered a good thing. It has to be. When you have more people finding jobs, when you have unemployment low at a 54 or 55-year low, these are great things. That shows the U.S. economy is strong and wants to grow and get stronger, right? But the one person that does not want to see this is Powell. So I saw this clip. Basically, you know what? Let me just play this. This is relatively quick, about 4 minutes. Let's play this, because this was exactly what this senator was questioning Powell over.
You're raising interest rates. You're raising interest rates to slow the economy, are you not?
Yes, to cool the economy off.
And one of the ways you measure your success, other than fluctuation in gross domestic product, is the unemployment rate. Is it not?
Yes, one of the measures.
Okay. So in effect, I'm not being critical. When you're slowing the economy, you're trying to put people out of work. That's your job, is it not?
Not really. We're trying to restore price stability.
No, you're trying to raise
not wages.
You're trying to raise the unemployment rate.
There are a lot of.
That means, I know you don't like the phrase, so let me strike it. You're trying to raise the unemployment rate, are you not?
No, we're not trying to raise it. We're trying to realign supply and demand, which could happen through a bunch of channels, like, for example, just job openings.
All right, let me put it another way, okay? The Economist did a wonderful study. They looked at 10 disinflationary periods in America going all the way back to the 1950s. Disinflation is what you're trying to do. It's a slowing in the rate of inflation. Am I right?
Yes.
In other words, prices don't go down, they just don't go up as fast. Deflation is when prices actually go down. You're trying to achieve disinflation, are you not?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Based on history, in the 10 times that we got inflation down, disinflation since the 1950s, in order to reduce inflation by 2%, unemployment had to go up 3.6%. Now, that's history, is it not?
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but yes, the standard has been that there have been recessions and downturns when the Fed has tried to reduce inflation.
Now, right now, the current inflation rate is 6.4%, and the current unemployment rate is 3.4%. Now, if history is right, I'm not asking you to again, blame anybody, but if history is right, unless you get some help, in order to get inflation down from 6.4% to, let's say, 4.4%, and the unemployment rate is going to have to rise to 7% based on history.
That's what the record would say.
Okay. And to get inflation down to 2.2% based on history, an immutable fact, unemployment would have to go to 10.6%. Would it not?
No, I wouldn't.
That's what the record shows. That's what the history shows.
Yeah, I don't think that kind of a number is at all in play here.
I know you're reluctant to admit it, and you don't want to get in the middle of a policy dispute. But I think it's undeniable. It's undeniable that the only way we're going to get this sticky inflation down is to attack it on the monetary side, which you're doing, and on the fiscal side, which means Congress has got to reduce the rate of growth of spending and reduce the rate of growth of debt accumulation. Now,
I think that's 100% correct. I mean, what is the point to what Powell is doing if the government continues to overspend and continues to print money? This makes a whole lot of sense. And based on history, this is shocking. Based on history, to get inflation down to 2.2% or 2%, 2 to 3% is what Powell is aiming for. According to history, unemployment would have to rise to nearly 11% for that to happen. Think about how much destruction must happen in order to curb inflation based on what Fed Chair Powell is doing alone, right? Which is basically essentially making the U.S. economy weak, really weak. So weak, in fact, that businesses have to fire people rather than hire people, which is what we want to see. We want to see growth, right? But Powell can't do much. I mean, if you think about all that power that he wields, right? Really, what he controls is the money printer. Do we print more money or do we not, right? And how do we do that? Well, simply by raising rates or decreasing rates. I mean, that's it. He can only control the demand side. He can't control the supply side. He can't control whether or not the U.S. economy or the U.S. government continues to overspend, right? So, I mean, that's why this whole thing is kind of screwy, right? It's not fair. Inflation is not caused, well, I take that back. Most of the inflation that is troubling us right now, why we're at 6%, why we got up as high as 9%, is due to the money printing, okay? And I know that, yes, demand does contribute to it, but mostly it's due to the money printing. When you print 40+% more money that's in existence, think about it, from the beginning of time, I don't know when the USD actually started, but it was over hundreds of years ago, right? Over 100 at least. Since then till now, when you have this bucket of money, however trillions that is, and then you increase it by 40% within just 2 years, what do you think that does? Of course, it devalues everything that has ever been created. I mean, it's really that simple. When you increase the supply by so much, of course, you devalue everything else and you make everything else more expensive. I mean, it's just that simple, right? So Powell is doing what he can, but unless the U.S. government and governments around the world really tries to shut down this endless and vicious cycle of overspending, you know, it's impossible. It's impossible to tackle inflation. It's literally impossible because if the U.S. overspends, then it has to print more. It's that simple, right? Where's the money coming from? From the printer that can basically, I mean, I say a printer, but literally they just punch some zeros in the computer and then you have more money. I mean, that's really what they're doing, right? So yeah, that's the problem we're facing right now. Even though I'm hopeful that inflation will continue to come down slowly but surely, but still, ultimately, I hate to see how good economic data, like Americans finding more jobs than expected, actually leads to a market sell-off, which has happened way too much. And look at it, the U.S. market is now selling off, like in the red. Why? This should be good. We should be rallying based on numbers like this, not going in reverse. And it's very frustrating indeed. All right, but moving past this, you still have some faithful Bitcoiners or just, I don't know, people that are hopeful, like Cathie Wood, ignores the Silvergate FUD, obviously related to crypto, and Silvergate could be going under soon, right? But she realizes not everything is Silvergate, which is why she continues to stock up on Coinbase. Coinbase stock, 6 straight months. Even though Coinbase stock has come down from like $80 down to 60 something again, she continues to buy. And I agree with her on this because I think Coinbase, you know, is the biggest exchange in the U.S., the most regulated. And plus, they have ties with the big boys like Circle and BlackRock. I don't know if that last point is a good one, but they have deep ties, of course, with the entire crypto industry. So as the crypto industry comes up and recovers, especially Bitcoin, it's only going to help Coinbase, right? That makes sense. So you still have a lot of faithful coiners, I don't know, Bitcoiners, not just Bitcoiners, just coiners in general, that are still remaining bullish on crypto despite what's going on, despite the macro conditions, which looks bleak, and hopefully we get past it. But, you know, we got some big economic data coming out. Next week will be CPI. CPI is going to be a huge one. Will inflation continue to go down or will we stall, right? That will affect a lot. And plus, let's see how correct or incorrect ADP is, because we will get another payroll report, the government one, the non-farm payroll report this Friday, right? And if it comes in hot, meaning like we add another like 500,000 jobs or something, which would be a fantastic thing, but it would be absolutely horrible for the U.S. market. So we'll see. We'll see what happens this Friday and next week, right? All right, but something that is not good, and can't really explain why, but this is happening. So the U.S. government seized a whole bunch of illegal Bitcoins, right? And I say illegal is because of sites like Silk Road, and the U.S. government is actually a huge holder of Bitcoin for quite a long time, right? And now it's looking like they may want to sell. In fact, out of the billion, which is roughly 50,000 Bitcoin, about 10,000 Bitcoin was sent to Coinbase. Now, why would the U.S. government send 10,000 Bitcoin to Coinbase? That's over $200 million, right? So right now, while things are weak, while the macro conditions look bleak, right? Obviously, 200 million sale on the spot market like Coinbase will affect Bitcoin's price, which could explain why Bitcoin has dipped a little bit below 22,000, right? If they're selling 200 million on a spot market in a weak environment, yes, it'll definitely affect it. And they still have 40,000 to go. Now, 40,000, according to people that are tracking this, right? The remaining 40,000 seems to be just held in wallets. So don't know what is going to happen. Are they going to sell those off, later on? Or are they going to hold it? Why are they choosing to sell 10,000 now, right? What's the story behind it? Out of all the times to be selling, why now, right? We don't know. These are unanswered questions. One can only guess. Maybe SEC, maybe Gary has ties to this, right? This is U.S. law enforcement agency. So I was trying to look it up, whether it's the New York South District or the Department of Justice or maybe the SEC. It's unclear who actually holds the Bitcoin, right? Maybe SEC, because SEC is about to lose some very, very big cases. And Gary knows that. So maybe, and I'm just speculating, this is done right now to try to, again, cause as much FUD as possible, try to bring things down as much as possible before some big, big victories are around the corner. Okay? In case you missed what those victories are, there's a lot. And I covered that last night. I'll cover it again today. Ripple may be winning its case soon. Brad is very, very hopeful. And that's because the judge looking over this case has removed the expert witness from the SEC side, which means they have really no expert witness. And they have kept all the testimony and expert witnesses that were presented, and basically everything that Ripple presented stayed in, and everything that the SEC presented was removed. So this is looking absolutely fantastic for Ripple, okay? And if Ripple wins, it'll be a huge win against the SEC for all of crypto, not just XRP, but for all of crypto, right? So that's number one. Number two is Grayscale ETF. They may be winning. Grayscale may be winning, and we may be getting the very first spot Bitcoin ETF. Lawyers are looking at the case, and they're determining that the SEC is going to lose. So that means we are about to get a Bitcoin spot ETF in the U.S. finally. Other nations already have it. The U.S. does not because of Gary Gensler, right? So Gary may be losing the Ripple case, maybe losing the Grayscale case, and they lost the Binance case. Binance has been trying to buy Voyager, right? And SEC keeps saying Voyager cannot be sold to Binance because Voyager is a security and this and that. And the the judge who's presiding over this bankruptcy case is basically telling the SEC, you guys are being absolutely ridiculous. You guys have presented no argument at all. It's like every single case, the judge asks the SEC to present reasons why they think something is a security or why they want to block something. The SEC just dances around and does not give an honest answer. And that's why it's so hard for crypto companies to know exactly what the SEC wants. And here's I'm not familiar with John Deaton, but it seems like he's a lawyer. He has his own firm. And he kind of breaks down a lot of the stuff that's been happening with Ripple, with Voyager, with everything that's going on. And it's looking really bleak for the SEC. So these are all great things. If we get announcements soon that we get a spot Bitcoin ETF approved, and then we get Ripple winning, right? And then Voyager, passing on to Binance, and then everything else that's happening, right? That would be absolutely fantastic. So it could be the reason why this is happening. Maybe this is Gary's last hope, right? To try to downplay or cause FUD for the entire market. So think about it. Okay, now besides those things, of course, we still have a lot of goodness for just Bitcoin. In fact, whales they've been pulling Bitcoin out of the exchanges by hundreds of millions. Hundreds of millions, right? Roughly $200 million of the Bitcoin withdrawn from exchanges on March 7th. That's yesterday. Look at this. Look at that big drop, right? That's a huge drop. And the more Bitcoin that leaves the exchanges, the better. So you're starting to see a massive decline of supply, liquidity on the exchanges. And it continues forward. And here's one that's, again, my camera's cutting off, but this one showing just for derivative exchanges, right? I guess people are sick of getting liquidated, but still, you have a massive amount of liquidity being removed from the market. That is good. That is good. Now, obviously, over time, as more and more Bitcoin gets removed from the exchanges, that's going to affect the price, right? As demand goes up, the supply goes down, yes, the price will follow. Right now, we still have a good amount of Bitcoin on exchanges, but people are learning. People are storing and safeguarding their own crypto. And plus, there's more and more whales and institutions and companies and countries that are stocking up on Bitcoin right now and just simply removing it from the likes of Coinbase and storing it in their own wallet, right? That is happening. So there's a lot of good stuff still. And if you look at stuff like this, supply last active 2 years, all-time high at 51%. 3 years, all-time high at 39%, right? 5 years, all-time high at 28%. The fundamentals of Bitcoin has never, ever, ever been stronger than now. The number of holders are the highest ever. The number of addresses, highest ever. The number of Bitcoin being held, highest ever, right? These are all undisputable facts. So Bitcoin is very strong, despite the price, I know, hovering right around 22,000, but that will pass and we will continue forward. And here's a nice little fractal pattern showing what happened in 2020 versus now. And that could be coming around the corner. Outside of those, what did I see? I think the last thing is this. In case anyone's worried about MtGox, in a couple days, it'll be the last day to register how you want to get repaid if you are a creditor, if you use MtGox. But here's the good thing. The largest creditor, okay, has selected to basically opt for 90% repayment in Bitcoin, and that won't happen until September. So if you're worried about MtGox dumping a whole bunch of Bitcoin, right, it's not happening anytime soon. They will target the largest creditors first, and most of them are selecting Bitcoin for repayment, and it's not going to start until at least September. So everyone else that has been waiting, they probably won't be repaid until sometime in 2024 or 2025, which if you think about it, would be great because that is when we're nearing the halving event or after the halving event. So if people choose to sell their Bitcoin, right, there'll be less effect on the market because we will be on the uptrend. So, good stuff. All right, that is pretty much it. The U.S. market still looking not so good. NASDAQ turned red now, right? People are still afraid of Powell, what he's going to say, what he's going to do. Are his hands tied? I mean, a lot of question marks at this point. All right, let's do some Q&A. Look at XRP. Look at XRP up 4% today. That's fantastic. Lot of excitement over the possibility that they will be winning and winning soon. All right, I'm scrolling down here. Scrolling. Let's see. Still scrolling. Yeah, I talked about SHIB last night. People are talking about SHIB. Shibarium is going to be released this week. I don't know which day. It could be today. It could be tomorrow, right? So there's a lot of excitement over SHIB. We'll see how good Shibarium is. And we'll see how many dApps they draw. I mean, this is pretty shocking, though, what Senator John Kelly revealed. To bring down inflation 2%, unemployment has to go up by 3%, 3 or 4%. So that means to get inflation down to 2.2% based on what Powell is doing right now. This is based on history of what previous Feds done and how the economy reacted. Unemployment has to jump from 3.4% to 10.6%. I don't think people realize how disastrous that is. That is enormous. We're talking about millions upon millions upon millions of people getting laid off, right? Us as a country will go into deep recession, and our economy will basically come to a stop and go in reverse. I mean, that is not something that we want to happen. Jack, I'm not a fan of quant. That's just me. They're a B2B play, not a B2C play. So for that, I'm not very excited about it. Can I wear a bone t-shirt on TV show? No. No, I'm not going to be doing that. Not going to be doing that. What exchanges are U.S. government selling Bitcoin? Coinbase. 10,000 Bitcoins moved to Coinbase. And you know they're not moving it there for storage, okay? Or they would have moved all 50,000. They moved 10,000 to Coinbase. So obviously selling $200 million plus worth of Bitcoin on a spot exchange is not good. Unless they do it OTC. I mean, it could be OTC, but a lot of these guys, when they want to dump, they don't quite know what's going on. They just want to sell out over the market, and possibly on purpose. And possibly the SEC and Gary's behind it. You know, no reason why. You know, that 1 billion, even if the US government sold 1 billion, that's nothing. That's less than chump change compared to our debt. It does not help pay anything off, really, considering that we are overspending by a couple trillion every single year. The way we have been operating, the government overspends a couple trillion every single year. And it started in 2020 and 2021 and 2022. And now, as we're in 2023, it's still happening. That's why we have this debt ceiling crisis, because we keep spending more than what we have. It's really unbelievable. I mean, 99.9% of people out there don't understand this, and I didn't understand this until a few years ago, or even you could say a year ago. Like, I didn't really pay attention to all this nonsense, right? Like, well, you know, why do I care about this? But if you truly understand what's going on with money and how it works, you just laugh. You just have to. It doesn't make any sense. It's not sustainable. How could a country operate with a really bad system? If companies operate like this, they would go under, which is why companies go under all the time, because they don't have an unlimited money printer. But the US government does. But if US government didn't have an unlimited money printer, the US government would have collapsed long time ago. Is it true SBF had a hand in SHIB? Zero clue. No one will ever know. That is pure speculation. And here's the more important question. Why do you care? If you are not a SHIB holder, then why do you care, right? And even if you are a SHIB holder, does it really matter? Because SBF is going to go to jail, and SHIB has a strong community. So why does it matter at this point, right? But that's pure speculation. Alex, you're welcome. Fifth Nail says I should wear an I Am George shirt and a nice jacket. I think that's what I'm going to do. You know, yesterday I was asking you guys for your opinions on how I should dress on a show. I think mostly I'm just going to wear a shirt, a t-shirt, or like a nice shirt, dress shirt, and just have a nice sport jacket on, you know, some nice pants or some jeans, and just call it a day. I'm not going to worry too much about it. I think I'm overthinking it. But, you know, just don't dress like a slob. Dress somewhat business casual, and just do that. Troy, I don't think I need a generator. Although I was thinking about it. I actually wanted to get it, but a generator costs way more than expected. At this point, I think I'm just gonna hold off on it. But as for a sump pump, I'm just make sure that it has a battery backup. I think it'll be good. I don't get too much rain, but you know. I don't know. I mean, sump pumps usually last for a good while. Jack, I can't answer that. I don't have one altcoin that is my favorite among all the other ones that I like, so can't answer that. Ellen, I was talking about dress for the show I'll be on, the next Crypto Gem. So shooting starts in a couple weeks, and I'll be in LA for that. So excited, about it. Will your shoes be visible? I would wear a nice pair of Jordans. I plan on every day. I plan on wearing a different type of shoe, or a different series of Jordans. But I don't. It's a pain because I have to bring 6 pairs of shoes then. But I plan on wearing Jordans. I don't know if they're going to show my feet or not. I'm probably not going to stream while taping the show. I won't have time for it. Just throw on the LV Air Forces. Good pump green handle on the market now. Did I miss something? Let's see. Bitcoin is still kind of hovering. Yeah, I don't see no big green candlesticks. I mean, Powell is still going to speak today, so most likely, the market's not going to move until after that. And then we got some payroll numbers, which actually came in great, and could be even better this Friday when the official government one comes out. But again, good job numbers means bad for markets right now. I mean, that's just how screwed up things are. Is Powell speaking again? They don't even have it on front page of CNBC anymore. Yesterday they did, but today they don't even have it. So I don't know if he's speaking already. He should be. I think it's 9 o'clock. Robert says, elevate crypto beyond the typical crypto bros dressed to impress. That's one thought. What is the most reliable source of breaking crypto news? Breaking news all happen on Twitter. Whether they are reliable or credible, that's a different story. But breaking news all start on Twitter. There are a lot of people that spread FUD or false news, so you do have to fact check it. You have to see how reliable it is. And sometimes you can't tell because once something breaks, everyone catches on it and then tries to, report the same thing. But things definitely do break fastest on Twitter. For sure. Is converting USD to USDC a taxable event? It is, but considering it's 1-to-1, there will be no taxes. But yes, any kind of conversion is considered a taxable event. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go. Overall, today, got some bad news. U.S. government started selling Bitcoin. The timing of it is really weird. Why are they doing so? I speculated it could be because the SEC is about to lose some serious cases, right? Maybe this is precursor or damage control or just to soften the blow that's coming to the SEC. But otherwise, Powell's going to speak today. ADP job numbers came out, right? Better than expected. Just really unfair that the American people and the U.S. economy is getting crushed by Chair Powell, right? Just to curb inflation, but when we all know, really, inflation is caused due to overspending and overprinting, right? And until those things stop, you can never check inflation. And that's why we stick with Bitcoin. All right. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.